Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Testimony Tuesdays. I am Micah Bruce. I have some very special guests with me today, Miss Maya Montgomery and Mr. John Montgomery. I'm actually going to have them just tell us a little bit about themselves.
My name is Myangela Montgomery now.
Yeah, get it right.
23 years old, and I'm a leasing consultant.
Yeah, well, my name is John Montgomery. I am 25 years old. I work for a trucking company, and also I'm starting out as an artist and in gospel music and stuff like that. So.
Awesome. And how long have you guys been married?
Been married for about a year, and I can count the months, 2 to 3, I believe, or yeah.
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months.
I knew.
Yeah, 5 months.
I knew she was gonna get it right, y'all. Okay. So that's awesome. So we are here today to talk about sex, the great topic. Everybody want to talk about it. Everybody want to know what it's like, what it's about. Okay, so we're going to talk about sex. So Maya, when you guys got married, you were a virgin, correct? So what made you make that decision to save yourself for marriage?
Well, when I was younger, I remember having friends who went like in 9th and 8th grade who was like being intimate before marriage and everything. And at first they would make it look fun, but when I really talked to them, they were just like, hey, I got my heart broken, or just crying, and they would be coming to me for advice. And so when I seen what they were going through, I'm like, I do not want to go through that. And not just that, but I was at a place where I'm like, you know what, I don't want to just live like how I want to live. I literally want to live with purpose and live towards God. Yes, in 9th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was just like, God, and I remember just dating guys and talking to guys in 9th grade who were just awful. Like, they was just not good guys at all. Like, they was just in 9th grade, just horrible, cheating, lying, things of that nature. And so I was just like, I would get my heart broken. I would just come to God, like, I'm tired of getting my heart broken. And God said, if you let me choose your husband and who you end up with, and you save yourself for marriage, I promise I'll give you someone who loves you for real. And that was so hard, because when you in high school and you see everybody around you dating somebody, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like, really? So I was just like, okay, God, I'm going to take this step with you, and I'm going to trust you. And so I made the vow to be celibate before marriage. And so, yeah.
So you had a word early on. That was your thing, like, that kept you together.
Yes.
And John, what about you? What was your status before you got?
I was on the other end of the spectrum.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so with me, I grew up kind of different. Like with me growing up in high school, I actually was homeless. A lot of people don't know this.
Wow.
But I was actually homeless my 10th grade year all the way up to my senior year.
Wow.
So I did, at some point after, like I say, like 2 months, 3 months of, just hopping, friend to friend house. Yeah. One friend went to his mom and his dad and was like, do you mind if my friend stays with us while he's in school?
Yeah.
And they were like, sure. So I stayed with them, and I still was kind of just living wild. Because you got to imagine being in 10th, 11th, 12th with no parents. Like, you know what I mean? So I kind of was just living life, doing whatever. And lost my virginity in the 10th grade. So yeah, then, after that, it was just, I was basically living worldly. Like, God wasn't involved at all in decisions, things like that. So
okay. Yeah. And when did you get to know God? Like, when did you start building a relationship with him?
That happened in college, my freshman year. So
what happened?
It was weird. I was at my job. I was working for the security company, Allied Barton Security, and while I was there, I was in my truck, and I just remember, opening up a Bible, and I was just like, is this God thing like really real? You know what I mean? And I actually prayed in that moment. I was like, God, if you are truly real, like, please reveal yourself to me. I was like, I don't want anybody coming to me and telling me, like, oh, God's done this, you need to believe him, you need to trust him. I was like, God, I need you to reveal yourself to me. Yeah. And right in that moment, I feel like God gave me like a lot of just wisdom on just studying the scriptures and just reading the Bible and studying. And it was really like through that and just learning like who Christ was and his characteristics and what he wants for us and what he has already paid for us, that in that process, like, I started to change, like, every day, to the point where I started doing Bible studies at my college. Like, and it was just random. You're talking about a guy who was just living wildly. Then the next day was like, let's have a Bible study. Like, it was kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's awesome. And John is, like, y'all, he's an amazing worship leader. Like, and you can't just always say that. You can say, like, a gospel artist, but no, he is a worship leader. Like, he will take you in, okay? Sidebar. But, so what made, so did you decide that you were gonna wait to sleep with Maya after she told you she wasn't doing nothing, or did you already make that decision once you started courting her?
Well, when I knew that, because I had got out of a relationship on my last one, and I was like, you know what, I want to be able to do this God's way and do it completely different. This is before I even met her, because I was going through this, like, transition with my pastor, PM, Pastor Matt, and I was growing a lot and just learning a lot in scripture and the Bible, and I just know that's the way God intended for relationships to be. Yeah. So when I did meet her, I mean, I was already on board. Right. So when she told me, I'm like, oh, this is for real. Yeah. Like, God, you weren't playing about that.
Like, oh, I gotta follow through now. Okay. That's what's up. So since you had experienced that before being married to her, what was that process like waiting, like really having to wait because she wasn't having it?
Yeah. I mean, she was fine as well, so it was almost like, I'm gonna just try to be transparent, all right? So it was almost like you eating a bag of hot Cheetos every day, right? And you're like, no, I'm gonna stop. Right. And then a bag of hot Cheetos is in the store as you walk by. Right. You start to, like, taste hot Cheetos, like, and your mouth get a little watery. Yeah. So you gotta, like, no. So you stick to that diet and you say, no. I gotta stay away from that. You know what I mean? So that's how it kind of was when I met her, and I was like, oh my God, she fine. But I had to, like, okay, calm down, like, trust God, and set that part to the side until it's time.
So what was y'all strategy? So what did y'all, like, did you have, PM always call them, guidelines are in place, like safety? Yeah, whatever. Have those things in place for y'all to not fall into something.
I mean, those guidelines was pretty tight. It was basically, no late phone conversations, no, when we're out on dates, make sure we're around where people are there, you know what I mean? Because it can get a little frisky at any moment, you know what I mean? But so it was really just making sure that we had some accountability where people were there. Like, sometimes, like, she would even invite her sister. I mean, that was early in the relationship, because I said, nah, I don't know about that one. But I said, maybe we can have, like, go to the, dinner and go to the zoo, where it's witnesses and things like that, you know what I mean? But I think that's how did you have anything extra?
I know, like, some of the other things that we did was we decided to, like he said, be in front of people, around people, and then not just that, like, do things like around my family, because I know if I'm around my family, the conviction will still be there. And then not just that, like, early on, like, if I would bring my sister or something, I was kind of trying to feel him out. So I'm like, maybe, because sometimes you be in a moment, you be in love, and you're like, oh my goodness, I like this person, but sometimes somebody else, an accountability partner, can see what you can't see. And so I'm just like, okay, could you see anything? She said, no, I think he good. She said, I mean, he got little things here and there, but she was like, and so, but yeah, it was just, being around people. Another thing is not being out too late. So I'm like, we need to be home by like 10:30 or something, because I don't want to be out too late. I don't want to get tempted when the lights go out. Sometimes the standards try to go out too, and you have to, you got to keep your standard. And so, and not just that, I knew there were other people watching us. You don't see very many couples who keep that standard, and so it's hard to say, for people who want to know God, like, that they really want to know him, because they don't see anybody doing it. And so it was even that too, like, it's people watching us, so we gotta keep this. And every day I was praying. When I went home, I said, God, Father, give me strength, because this brother with these muscles walking up in here like this, I said, you're gonna have to give me some serious strength. And so But yeah, so it was just having those standards. And then we didn't kiss either. So a lot of people didn't know that we didn't kiss until our wedding day, and John actually announced it on mic, like, this is our very first kiss.
I want y'all to know that I did this.
Yes. So that was tough, and the reason why we decided not to kiss was because that was a tempting ground. Like, if once you kiss, sometimes the other stuff starts sparking, and and so that's why we decided, like, no, we're not gonna kiss before marriage, and we're gonna save it for marriage. And
So how long was that wait? How long were y'all dating before y'all got married?
6 months.
6 months.
The whole marriage process and everything?
Wait, 6 months we courted, and then we got engaged, and then 2 months and we got married.
Okay. So the big question I know people always ask or be thinking, do you feel like not having sex rushed that process?
I wouldn't say it rushed it, because we were able to get to know each other in that time and see were we compatible and things like that. It definitely made us want to expedite things, speed things up, but it didn't rush it. I think God had it set at that time for that 9 months or 7, 8 months on purpose, because that was just the perfect amount of time for us to get to know each other, get comfortable with each other, and really enjoy each other. And the reason why I say that is because now that we're married, a lot of things that you know how people bypass when they're intimate, or sometimes just being really affectionate with each other, you can't see. We were able to see beforehand before we got married. And so I don't think we really rushed. What do you think?
I mean, for me, what I believed in the whole process was the fact that we didn't have sex. It kind of made me be more aware of like her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I kind of noticed that when you do have sex, it just becomes real cloudy.
Very
who this person truly is. You know what I mean? Because you be so wrapped up in the juices and the spices, but it's like when you take that all away, because you notice that after a while doing relationships where you were having sex during that whole relationship, after a while you start to, when the smoke starts to clear out, you start to really see them like, oh, what the heck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when me and her weren't having sex, it was like I got to see like her. You know what I mean? And she got to see me, and I think that's what made that process move a little faster. Because it was like, oh, okay, like I see you, you see me.
Right.
And also a man, I believe that when a man dedicates, to that, where he's like, okay, we're celibate, I'm not going to do anything with you, you're not going to do anything with me. I think that his goals and his vision is a lot clearer on what he wants. You know what I mean? Because, I'm not about to be playing around with you. You know what I'm saying? We ain't having sex no way. Like, am I going to marry you or not? You know what I mean? So that's what it came down with me. Like,
yeah. That's good. That's so true. I don't know who I was talking to yesterday, but talking about how, I think Pastor Matt said this too, how sex just makes you a lazy lover. Like, you just sweep stuff under the rug. Stuff happen, and the blanket is the sex. Like, it just covers up everything, and you never get to know the person like you said. Because that's enough. You feel like you're getting fulfilled in that moment, and that's enough for you. So that's really good. So do you guys feel like it was worth it? I want to hear from both perspectives. With you, having sex and then deciding to not, was that worth it? And then for you, not having sex at all, was it worth the wait?
It definitely was, because I feel like, I think as a woman or as a young woman, that is so valuable. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't want to put something so valuable on the line, you know what I'm saying, before I know the person. And so I'm so glad that during that time, instead of, being intimate, that we got to know each other before I gave him that. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely feel like it was worth it. And even after marriage, it was amazing. Not to get into detail or nothing, but it was amazing because I knew he loved me for me. Right. He wasn't just doing it to get off, but he was doing it because he genuinely loved me. I could feel the love, you know what I'm saying? And so I definitely think it was worth it.
Awesome. What about you, John?
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth it because I got to fall in love with the actual cake before the icing was involved. So Yeah, so that whole process of courting, I got to figure out who she is and how she needs to be loved, and how her mind works and things like that. So when we did get married and that was added on top, it was just extra. It wasn't like, you know what I mean, like that was the focus, or that was what kept us together, you know what I mean? But it was the root of like just love and being patient with one another and forgiving and all that type of stuff like that. So
that's awesome. So what would be your advice to people who are like in this fight? Maybe they still, having sex and they trying to switch over, but it's hard. They don't have the tools to do that. Let's answer that first. What do you think? What's your advice to them?
My advice to those people is basically you have to have a relationship with God. Like it's not something you can get around and try to do with your own strength. I mean, there are people who are not saved who they call it, what did we say earlier? It was celibacy and abstinence, right?
Right.
So I mean, you can do the abstinence, but with celibacy, it's a reason behind it. And when you have a purpose, like you move with a lot more authority, and you move with it's just more assurance, like with your movements when you have purpose behind it. So the purpose behind what we did was God, number one. So if you don't have a relationship with God, I would say try to meet Him first before you try to see your wife. Right. Or try to find your wife. Like, figure out who Christ is and figure out your relationship and build that friendship with the Father, you know what I mean? So.
Right. Okay, so Maya, what do you think? Your advice to people who are still in that fight, they're still virgins and, they're waiting. What's your advice to them?
My advice would be to find out who you are. Don't just rush into marriage. Don't just, because sometimes, when we're in church, we're taught, get married. You need to hurry up, get married. You're single. You've been waiting for too long, and that's just the goal. No, find out who you are and love who you are. I've learned from some people who I have known who've gotten in relationships a little too early. They make that person their whole world, the reason why they're living, their definition and their purpose, when that's not what God intended. God intended for you guys to be a help meet to one another to fulfill His purpose in the earth. And so I think it's so important to know who you are and find out, learn who you are, learn what you love to do, learn what you like to do in your free time, how you can help and serve others with the gift that God has given you, and not just thinking about shooting into marriage, but learn what you love to do, invest in yourself, financially, spiritually, mentally, make sure you're in a good mental place, especially if you are in a bad relationship or you're in an abusive home or something, make sure you're healed in those areas, or try to get those things in right standing with God before you get married, so you won't have to deal with that baggage or that weight once you get married. And so
I agree. So the whole purpose of the show is about testifying. So I want y'all to just say, like, what does testifying mean to you, and then why it's important?
I'll let you go first.
Testifying to me, I like to say the testimony. It's just basically being a witness of the goodness of God, right? If you think about a courtroom or whatever, when you're trying to convince a jury, like, they go by the testimonies of the witnesses, or whoever was involved or whoever saw what happened. I believe that as believers, like, when we give our testimony, we're basically telling those who are unbelievers, or those who are lacking in faith, or they doubt some things, that when they hear our testimony, it encourages them and it helps other people. And I think that's what it's all about, is helping other people and, get closer to God. So
yeah.
She still wants to get out.
Aww. This is Melody. She's making a cameo. Hi, pretty girl. She's like, what is this? These lights is bright. Okay, so Maya, what does testimony or testifying mean to you?
Like how John said, I think it means testifying is testifying of the goodness of God and how good He is in your life. And I think also it's just stating, where you may have been at one point and God delivered or healed or rescued you from. And so that's what I believe testifying means. So.
Awesome. So was there ever a time when you guys were both in the moment feeling hot and heavy, but y'all knew that y'all couldn't do it. So what did y'all do in that moment to like restrain yourselves?
I remember we were at a bowling alley, and things got really spicy. And yeah, it got real heated because we were playing pool. We were playing pool, and yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because he was showing me how to do the pool and stuff, and at first I was, I started feeling like chills and tingles, and so I was just like, okay, maybe it won't hurt if he get back there a little bit, and but then the Holy Spirit's like, no, you have to stop. Because this can lead to something else. And I think when the Holy Spirit says something, or if you get that feeling, stop, listen to the Holy Spirit. Don't just keep going. Don't override his voice. And I think that's what a lot of people do. They get that feeling to stop and they keep going. They're like, no, I ain't gonna do nothing. We just chilling. We ain't, or we can go back to the place. Ain't nothing gonna happen. No, you can't put confidence in your flesh. Your confidence is in God. And so I heard him say that, and I'm like, and we looked at each other and like, okay. I was like, no, let's just, and he was like, okay, yeah, well, we can. And we played on separate sides and stuff. But, just that moment, it was just, we had got really like close and affectionate with each other. And, we was like hugging on each other. And I'm like, just wait it out, like we got this. And it was hard.
What month was this? Was this like the beginning or the end?
This was not the beginning. It was closer to the end. Okay. The beginning, we really like held on to the rules, but towards that end, oh my gosh, like it's like you fall so in love and you're just ready. Like, I just want to show you how much I love you in a different way. I'm sick of just the basics. I want to do more, and so it was hard, but every day we would pray at 5 a.m. We would get up and pray and ask God for strength. We would ask him, God, help us to keep this going. Help us to honor you, and so that was like our discipline and our sacrifice that we made to honor God so that we wouldn't fall.
And what made y'all come up with that? Like, when did that start?
Well, I was getting up at 5 a.m, and I think he had to get up pretty early for work anyway. And so we would get up early in the morning, and I was just like, hey, do you want to pray? He was like, yeah, cool. And so we would just get up and just pray, because I'm going to be completely honest. When we made the decision to want to get married, the enemy fought us so hard. Like, when I tell you, a job, finances, even through people, it was really, really hard. And we like, God, we doing it the right way. Like, why do we feel like it's a wall every time we try to go and do this, And God is like, it's because you're not praying. It's not just a natural battle, it's spiritual too. You have to come against the enemy. You think he wants this? You think he's just gonna let you get married? No, you have to warfare, because it's people attached to this. And so we would get up every morning and just pray and intercede until we felt that wall break down. And that's when we just, we trusted God and we depended on him. And so
that's what's up.
Yeah.
John, from your perspective, a male perspective, what did you do in those hot and heavy moments?
Well, this is a perspective for anyone who has done it before at any moment, right? So, my advice to you is to run. Not to pray about it, not to hear from the Lord. Get out of there immediately. Like, if you feel it, just move from that spot. Like, I ain't about to front. Just, if you at a pool, you're playing pool or whatever, and you feel it, go to bowling or something. Right. Like, just move from from that train of thought or whatever. Right. Yeah, so that would be my advice. I feel like there's no other way to fight that. I know in the Bible it say flee fornication. Like, it don't say, cast it out. No, get out. Like, actually
That's so good.
You know what I mean? Like, if you think about like the story of like Joseph, where
he ran out his clothes.
Pharaoh's wife, or she tried to sleep with him, he got out of there. He didn't say, oh no, my Lord, and I can't. No, she tried to snatch my brother up, and he got out of there. So, you know what I mean? I would say, just run from that. Don't even play with it.
That is so good. That was our issue. It was like, it was no running. It's like, we just gonna lay here. We just gonna switch sides. We're gonna turn on the movie. Danger. And it just went all downhill from there. So that was good. Thank you guys for coming. I'm so I feel like this is gonna bless a lot of people. Y'all just being transparent. I feel like that's what people need. Like, they need to hear from people their age that look like them, that are in similar situations, to see that they put God first and it worked. Like, I think a lot of people don't see that it worked. They see people still struggling. So I think it's good for them to see people, who are young and successful and happy, like truly happy, not just, not just bearing the weight because they saved. You know what I'm saying? They really living a blessed life. So I'm really grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for y'all to be my friends. So thank you guys for joining me.
Anytime. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Invite us to the set.
So that was another Testimony Tuesdays. I can't wait for you all to hear and listen and learn. We will catch you again next week.